Get her off the stage now! The shout echoed through the elegant ballroom like a sharp cut in the air. Warm lights gleamed off crystal chandeliers. Hundreds of well-dressed people turned their eyes in unison, and at the center of it all, Chloe Tan stood motionless, the microphone trembling slightly in her hand. Across the stage, Marcus Lim smiled. It wasn't just any smile. It was the kind that precedes someone being publicly dismantled. Some people chuckled, others exchanged glances. A woman in a vibrant red dress covered her mouth, trying to stifle a laugh. Marcus pointed. Who allowed her up here? More laughter. Chloe said nothing. Her silence was more unsettling than any response. Marcus took 2 steps forward, confident and comfortable in a moment he clearly dominated. This is a serious event. It's no place for amateurs. A man in the audience nodded in agreement. Another whispered something and laughed. Chloe took a deep breath, her heart racing. But her face remained firm. She could have spoken, she could have retorted, she could have ended it right there, but she didn't. And it was precisely that decision that changed everything. She brought the microphone to her lips, paused, and simply said, "It's all right." Simple. No anger, no defense, no explanation. She turned her back and walked off the stage. And it was at that moment that everyone thought she had lost. The event continued, or at least it tried to. Marcus adjusted his blazer as if he had just brought order to the room. He smiled at the audience. Well, now that that's settled, some people were still uncomfortable. But he ignored them. He clicked the slide remote. The first image appeared behind him. Graphs, impactful phrases, strategies. He began to speak, confident, fluent, secure. He was clearly someone accustomed to being there, but something didn't quite fit. Some phrases sounded too good, others too profound. And Marcus didn't look at the slides like someone who had constructed them. He merely followed, repeated, and delivered as someone who had memorized. And nobody noticed yet. Backstage, Chloe walked slowly down the hotel's side corridor, unhurried, tearless, without looking back. She had lived through this before, not exactly in this way, but the feeling was the same. Underestimated, ignored, silenced. She gripped her bag strap tighter and kept walking. Back on stage, Marcus was at the peak of his presentation. People underestimate the power of invisible strategy. He raised a hand theatrically. What nobody sees is what truly builds everything. Some applause began. He smiled. This was his place. This was what he believed. Or at least, this was what he wanted them to believe. Then the organizer appeared discreetly beside the stage. Miss Sarah Wong, her posture firm, her gaze alert. She observed, didn't interrupt, didn't react, but she perceived that something was wrong. Marcus advanced to the next slide. This methodology I developed, and it was at that exact moment that the side door opened. A man entered, calm, confident, unhurried. He didn't seem bothered or surprised. He seemed like someone who knew exactly what was about to happen. He walked onto the stage without asking permission, and Marcus stopped, confused. "Excuse me, are you—" The man didn't respond immediately. He took a microphone, looked at the audience, and said, "Before continuing, I need to correct a grave error that occurred here today." The entire hall fell silent. Marcus tried to laugh. "I think you're mistaken, but—" He didn't finish, because the man slowly turned his face and looked directly at him. "The woman you just sent off this stage," a pause, the kind of pause that carries weight, "is the person who wrote every line of this presentation." Absolute silence. It wasn't immediate shock, it was worse. It was a slow understanding, like a wave that starts small and grows until no one can ignore it. Marcus didn't speak, didn't blink, didn't react. The man continued. "This content was not created by you." He looked at the slides, then at the audience. "It was sold by a consultancy, signed by an author you clearly failed to acknowledge." Someone in the audience shifted uncomfortably. Another lowered their phone. A woman crossed her arms. The atmosphere completely changed. Marcus tried to recover. That's irrelevant. The important thing is the delivery. No. The answer came firm, direct, without raising his tone. It is not more silence. Because when you humiliate someone in public, the man took a step forward. You reveal that you have no idea who is standing before you. Miss Sarah Wong walked onto the stage, this time without hesitation. She took another microphone, looked at Marcus, and said, "All right, Marcus, we will be concluding your participation here. No shouting, no scandal, no drama, but with immense weight." He swallowed hard, looked around, no one defended him, no one smiled. Now the silence was different. In the corridors, Chloe stopped. She didn't hear everything, but she felt it. You know, when the atmosphere changes, even from a distance. She closed her eyes for a second, took a breath, and returned. When she re-entered the ballroom, no one laughed, no one whispered, no one dared. She walked calmly, ascended the stage unhurriedly, with no expression of triumph, no need to prove anything. She picked up the microphone, looked at the audience, and said, "It's not about the stage." A pause. "It's about respect." Silence. Not that awkward silence, but the kind of silence that teaches. Marcus left without looking back, without arguing, without reaction, and there was the true consequence. It wasn't exaggerated punishment. It wasn't a scandal. It wasn't public destruction. It was worse. It was the loss of authority, of respect, of presence. Chloe did not continue the presentation. She didn't need to, because at that moment, no one wanted to hear content. Everyone had already learned. That night, no one left talking about strategy, about business, about slides, but about one thing only: respect. Because the truth is simple. Whoever exalts themselves too much makes way for their own downfall. And whoever stands firm, even in silence, doesn't need to shout to be seen. Matthew 23:12 already stated, "Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted." On that day, there was no thunderous applause, no celebration, but there was something much stronger: awareness. And perhaps that is the hardest part to accept. One who humiliates in public doesn't always know who they are facing.